Shalom, Yasharallah, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, BARAK, ATHA. My name is Officer Ahhad.
This is Captian Shamwaahla.
So today is the first time that we're keeping Shabbat service down in Homestead, Florida, at Mayor Roscoe Warren Municipal Park, located at 1400 East Palm Drive, Homestead, Florida, 33030. So if you're in the area, if you know somebody, even if you're not in the area, but you know somebody who's down here, tell them to come out here and congregate with us. Myself and Captain Shamwaahla's contact information will be down in the description, along with the location to the park. All right, Shalom. So we're going to go ahead and get the Shabbat service kicked off.
Okay. All right. Shabbat Shalom to all the Hebrews out there. Akim Akwafim. Okay. So we're doing the Torah portion this week is the book of Genesis, chapter 18 and verse 1 through chapter 22 and verse 24. All right. So we're going to start off with the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17.
Really?
And whatsoever ye do in word or deed,
So whatever you do in word or deed, actions that you speak out of your mouths, read.
do all in the name of the other one, YAHAWASHI, giving thanks to the Elohim and the Abba by him.
Giving thanks to Yahawah by YAHAWASHI. Okay. All right. Like we said, this is our first Shabbat service held out in the park. The address and everything, description that you need, contact numbers in the description. Okay. All right. So we're going to get straight into it. All right. We're going to go into the book of Genesis, chapter 18 and verse 1. The book of Genesis, chapter 18 and verse 1. Okay.
The book of Genesis, chapter 18 and verse 1. And the Most High appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground, and said, My other one, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on, for there ye are come to your servant. And they said, So do as thou hast said. And Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah, and said, Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. And Abraham ran unto the herd, and fetched a calf tender, and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hastened to dress it. And he took butter and milk, and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. Verse 9. And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my other one being old also? And the Most High said unto Abraham, Wherefore Sarah did laugh, saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child which am old?
She's saying to herself, like, I'm at this age or point in my life, am I still able to bear children? So that's why she's trying to laugh it off. Continue.
Is anything too hard for the Most High?
Is anything too hard for the Most High, Yahawah? Read.
At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son.
And she shall have a son. Read.
I got a precept on that time of life.
Can. All right. Now we gotta understand that back in those days, you know, people were aged gracefully, you understand, to the hundreds, 200s, and even higher. But the age of a man nowadays is 100, so that's a lifespan. But back in the days, we grew into older life ages. Continue.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 1. I myself also am a mortal man.
He said, I myself as a mortal man, read.
Like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months.
In the time of 10 months, read.
Being compacted in blood of the seed of man, and the pleasure that came with sleep.
And the pleasure that came with sleep. Okay. Continue on in Genesis.
Verse 15. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not, for she was afraid. And he said, Nay, but thou didst laugh.
So she's like she's trying to deny it, but she did laugh. Read.
Right? Come, Slakia. So as we can see, right? Sarah laughed, right? But Abraham, he believed on the Most High. Right? He didn't question what the Most High said. Let me get the book of Romans chapter 4. The book of Romans chapter 4 verse 19. Let's get that. Right? Because a lot of our people, they live off of this wrong definition of faith, because they think all you have to do, right, is just hear the words, because they don't believe them, right? They don't believe them, because when the Most High tells them to do something, and if they don't do it, that death is gonna come, they do it anyway, right? They don't even consider that, man. You know what? This might lead me to my death, right? Even in this truth, you may fall short, but you believe if I continue to sin, I'm gonna be destroyed. That's why you continue to repent daily. Read that.
Is it Romans?
Yep, Romans 4:19.
4:19. The book of Romans, chapter 4, and verse 19.
Read.
And being not weak in faith.
Right, speaking about Abraham, and being not weak in faith, read.
He considered not his own body now dead.
Right, because Abraham at this time, right, was what? Around 99, 100 years old, right? So he's not considering his body dead, because the Most High just told him that he's going to have a child. Right. So if he was considering his body dead after the Most High told him he was going to have a child, that would him being weak in faith. Read.
Right. When he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb.
Right, he did. That's the same thing. Because Sarah asked, "Listen, I'm not after the man or woman anymore. I don't have my cycle." Right. But guess what? Abraham didn't consider her womb dead. Why? Because the Most High said that they were going to have a child. Read.
He staggered not at the promise of Yahawah.
He what?
He staggered not at the promise of Yahawah.
Right. He didn't stagger at the promise of the Most High, man. The Most High promised him something. He said, "Con." Read.
Through unbelief.
Through what?
Through unbelief.
That was the only thing that would make somebody stagger at the promises of the Most High God, man. If you don't believe. Read.
But was strong in faith. Giving glory to the Most High.
Right, giving glory to the Most High. Because he wasn't about to walk around saying, man, listen, man, I'm still going at 100. Y'all boys can't see me. No, he's giving glory to the Most High God, man.
Right.
Read.
And being fully persuaded.
Being partially persuaded.
And being fully persuaded.
Being 1% persuaded.
And being fully persuaded.
He was fully persuaded. He didn't think twice about what the Most High said, man.
Right.
The Most High said he was going to have a child, and that's what happened. He didn't think twice. He was fully persuaded. Read.
Right. What he had promised, he was able also to perform.
Because the Most High asked the question, is anything too hard for me? Right? So guess what? He was fully convinced. He was fully persuaded, right, that the Most High was going to deliver. Keep reading.
And therefore, it was imputed to him for righteousness.
Right. So that's what it is, man. Our people got to understand, when the Most High tells you to do something, when the Most High says something and you believe on it, that can be imputed for righteousness also. Yes, the law, statutes, and commandments is righteousness, but you also have to believe every word that proceeded out of his mouth, right? Keep reading.
But for us also,
so like verse 23.
Now it was not written for his sake alone that it was imputed to him, but for us also.
For who also?
But for us also.
For Israel also. Read.
To whom it shall be imputed. if we believe on him
Uh-huh.
that raised up YAHAWASHI, or either one from the dead.
Right. We all know who raised up YAHAWASHI from the dead. It was the Most High Yahweh, right? So we got to believe on him. Read.
Who was delivered for our offenses
Uh-huh.
and was raised again for our justification.
Give me Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11, right? Because we see that Abraham was fully persuaded in the promises of the Most High God, right? So let's see some promises that the Most High made unto us that we should be fully persuaded in. And guess what? We won't stagger at it, because for you to be an unbeliever in this truth, man, listen, you won't be able to stand, because now you're double-minded, right? Read that.
Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11.
Read.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
The what time?
The second time to recover the remnant of his people.
To recover the remnant of his people, man. Read.
Which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush.
Read.
And from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea.
So the Most High said that he was going to recover his people, man, a second time, right? The first time is when he recovered us out of the hand of Pharaoh, coming out of Egypt. But the Most High is going to come gather us again, man, a second time. Read.
And he shall set up an ensign for nations.
Read.
And shall assemble the outcasts of Israel.
The what of Israel?
The outcasts of Israel.
Because we in the four corners of the earth. Read.
And gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
Keep reading.
The envy also of Ephraim shall depart. And the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off.
Read.
Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
Right? So guess what? That one stick is going to be made, man. Right? The nation is going to come back together, man. There's not going to be no more southern kingdom, no more northern kingdom, right? We're not going to refer to each other like that anymore, right? All of this is going to be, I'm an Israelite, and you're going to state your tribe. Read.
But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines towards the west. They shall spoil them of the east together.
Read.
They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab.
Read.
And the children of Ammon shall obey them.
Right. So the people who rule over us today, we're going to be ruling over them tomorrow. Thus saith the Most High, man. These are promises that we need to be fully persuaded in. Read.
Right. And the Most High shall destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea. And with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. And there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria. Like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt.
So some of our people don't see a way out of this captivity, man. But the Most High say he gonna make one. The same way how he made a way out of Egypt. Come on, get that. Jeremiah 3:18.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3 and verse 18.
Read.
In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel.
Read.
And they shall come together out of the land of the north.
The land of the what?
The land of the north.
Read.
To the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers.
Right? So that's what's going to happen, man. We're going to be led out of the land of the north, right? So-called North America, right? This is what we're going to be led out of, man. And anywhere else Israel is at. But the Most High is going to make a way. Good precept. Go back to Isaiah, start at verse 12 and read down to verse start at verse 12 and 1, read down to verse 6. All right? This is still about what we need to be fully, these are promises, man, that the Most High is making to the nation of Israel, that we need to be fully persuaded and not stagger through unbelief with. Read.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 12, verse 1.
Read.
And in that day, thou shalt say, O Yahawah.
Which you say what?
O Yahawah.
Read.
I will praise thee. Though thou wast angry with me.
Read.
Thine anger is turned away. And thou comfortest me.
Thou did what?
Comfortest me.
So guess what? Yes, the Most High was angry at our sins. Yes, he sent us into slavery. Yes, he made all the curses that he stated that will come upon us, came upon us. But guess what? He's going to comfort us in these last days, man. Right? He's going to comfort us. He's not going to continue being angry with us for eternity. Right? Because the nation is waking up. We're trying our best to do his will. And that's all that a father could ask of their sons. Right? And their daughters. It's to do their best that they're asking, man.
Right.
Right? But guess what? The Most High, he wants us to be perfect, man. So we got to continue to strive for perfection. You keeping a couple of commandments, that's good, but keep going. See what else you can do for your nation, right? Continue to multiply your talents and putting your hands to the plow. Read.
Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
Behold, Yahawah is my salvation.
No, money is my salvation.
Yahawah is my salvation.
No, my wife is my salvation.
Yahawah is my salvation.
Joe Biden is my salvation.
Yahawah is my salvation.
Only Yahawah is our salvation.
Okay.
There's no other way the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man can be saved except through the Most High God, Yahawah. Read.
I will trust and not be afraid.
Uh-huh.
For the Lord Yahawah is my strength and my song.
Read.
He also is become my salvation.
Keep reading.
Therefore, with joy shall ye draw water out of the wells of salvation.
Out of the what?
Out of the wells of salvation.
Out of the wells of salvation, man.
Can.
Right? Because right now we drinking out of a cup of oppression. But we
Right.
moving up to a well of salvation. How that sound?
Can.
Right? That's what we're looking for, man. Because we got the cup of oppression, but we'll have the well of salvation in the latter days. Read.
Therefore, with joy shall ye draw water out of the wells of salvation. And in that day
Read.
shall ye say, Praise ye the Most High. Call upon his name.
Read.
Declare his doings among the people. Make mention that his name is exalted.
Keep reading.
Sing unto the Most High. For he hath done excellent.
What kind of things?
Excellent.
Read.
Excellent things.
Read.
This is known in all the earth.
So they will know, right? Just like Joel 2:27 say, they're going to know that the Most High is in the midst of Israel.
Right.
And he's the God of Israel and none else. Because the whole world is going to see the excellent things that the Most High has done for us.
Right.
Because what type of things have the other nations done for us, right? Would you say that they were excellent? I would say that they were atrocious, right? I would say that they were beguiled, right? I would, any type of negative term that I can come with, that's what the things that the other nations have done unto the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Right.
Read.
Cry out and shout. Thou inhabitant of Zion.
Read.
For great is the Holy One of Israel in the midst of thee.
Right, man. So listen, all of this that the Most High promised us, we got to be fully persuaded like Abraham was, man.
Right.
Right? Because to be a 100-year-old man, right, and have a 90-year-old wife, and the Most High coming to tell you that y'all about to have babies, shoot, for you to say, okay, then you got to have that faith, right? But that's the type of man Abraham was, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to Genesis. The book of Genesis, chapter 18 and verse 16.
Yeah.
And the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom. And Abraham went with them to bring them on the way.
Okay.
And the Most High said, shall I hide from Abraham the thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation.
Become a who?
A great and mighty nation.
A great and mighty nation. I think there was a piece on it. The Genesis. Was it 13:15?
About when he was going to become that great and mighty nation?
Yeah. Let's see. It was 13. Okay. Oh, okay, here it is. The book of Genesis, chapter 15 and verse 13.
I got you. Book of Genesis, chapter 15 and verse 13. And he said unto Abram,
what do you say?
Know of a surety.
He said, notice for sure. Okay, it's a guarantee. Read.
That thy seed.
That who?
That thy seed.
That thy seed. Read.
Shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs.
And
shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full.
It's not yet full. So we already knew that Abraham was going to be a great nation, a mighty nation. Okay, and that's evident today that we are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, so we're not gone as a nation of people. Okay, Ken. Oh, that was Genesis 15, 13. Okay. All right. So let's go back.
It's a lot of precept.
Okay.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 31 and verse 30, Salakia, and verse 35.
Uh-huh.
Thus saith the Most High, which gaveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night,
Uh-huh.
which divided the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Most High of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart but from before me, saith the Most High, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's go back to Genesis 18.
Okay. Book of
Okay.
Genesis, chapter 18 and verse 18.
Uh-huh.
Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation,
We become a great and mighty nation. Read.
and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him.
Uh-huh.
For I know him, that he will command his children in the household after him, that they shall keep the way of the Most High.
In other words, you probably just keep the house in order. That's how we're supposed to do as a nation of people. Okay. That's how these nations are supposed to look at us as a nation of people. That we're an ordered people. Okay. And that we keep the commandments. Read.
To do justice,
To do who? To
justice,
do justice. Read.
and judgment,
Uh-huh.
that the Most High may bring upon Abraham that which he had spoken of him.
Uh-huh.
And the Most High said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous,
Very grievous. Read.
I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it,
Uh-huh.
which is come unto me. And if not, I will know.
Uh-huh.
And the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Most High.
And Abraham stood yet before the Most High. Read.
And Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
He said, when you combine the righteous with the wicked, destroy them altogether. Read.
Peradventure, there be 50 righteous
He said, perhaps. What if it's like 50 people? Read.
in the city.
Uh-huh.
Wilt thou also destroy and spare in the city and spare Salakia? Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein?
And will you not spare the place if it's just 50 righteous people? Read.
That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked,
Uh-huh.
and that the righteous should be as the wicked. That be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right?
Read.
And the Most High said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes.
And the Most High said he will spare the place for their sakes if you find 50. Read on.
And Abraham answered and said,
What he said.
behold, now I have taken upon me to speak to the Most High,
Uh-huh.
which am but dust and ashes. Peradventure, there shall lack 5 of the 50
He
righteous.
said, what if there's like 5 out of the 50? Read.
Wilt thou destroy all the city for the lack of 5? And he said, if I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it.
Uh-huh.
And he will speak unto him yet again, and said, peradventure, there shall be 40 found there.
Uh-huh.
And he said, I will not do this for 40's sake.
He said he would not even do it for 40. All right, read.
And he said unto him, oh, let not the other one, my other one be angry,
He said, let not the Lord be angry. Read.
and I will speak.
Uh-huh.
Peradventure, there shall be 30 found there.
He said, what if there's 30? Read.
And he said, I will not do it,
He won't even do it for 30. Read.
if I find 30 there.
Uh-huh.
And he said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Most High. Peradventure, there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake.
Uh-huh.
And he said, oh, let not the other one be angry with me. And I will speak yet but this once.
Yeah.
Peradventure, 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake.
Uh-huh.
And the Most High went his way as soon as he had left from communing with Abraham.
Uh-huh.
And Abraham returned to his place.
Chapter 19.
The book of Genesis, chapter 19 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And there came 2 angels at Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom.
Uh-huh.
And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground.
So Lot seen these two angels and he bowed himself down, showing reverence and respect. Read.
And he said, Behold, now, my other ones, turn in, I pray you, into the servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet. And ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways.
Okay.
And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night.
So he's pretty much showing them hospitality, but they're like, you know what, we're going to stay out. We want to chill out all night on the street. Read.
And he pressured upon them greatly, and turned into them, and entered into the house. And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread.
And he baked them unleavened bread. Read.
And they did eat. Verse 4. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round about.
Before they had a chance to lay their head on a pillow, they had this house surrounded by the men of Sodom. Read.
Both old and young.
He said, even the old and the young ones. Read.
And all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot.
And they were asking for Lot. Read.
And said unto him,
what he said?
Where are the men which came into thee this night?
And they were looking for the angels. Like, man, what are them two guys that went into your crib last night? And that's an abomination, man. You asking for two men. Read on.
Bring them unto us.
He said, bring them out the house. Read.
That we may know them.
That we know them. We already know what that means. Read.
And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him.
And he shut the door quick. As soon as he stepped out, bam, he slammed the door right behind him. Read.
I pray you, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly.
He said, don't do this wicked thing, man. Read.
Behold, now I have two daughters,
and he's offering his two daughters, you know what I'm saying, as a replacement. Read.
Which have not known man.
They have not known man. They were virgins. Read.
Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing.
He said, only unto these men that just came in, don't do nothing to them. Okay, God, I got two daughters I can give you. Do good unto them. Okay, read.
For therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, Stand back. And they said again, This is one fellow came into to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge.
Read on.
Now will I deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door.
They was up all around, like, we're trying to break the door down. Read.
But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut to the door.
And they shut the door quickly. Read.
And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness.
With what?
With blindness.
With blindness that they couldn't see. Read.
Both small and great, so that they were wearied themselves to the door.
And they were like groping at noonday, how the scripture said. They were like searching, like, damn, where's the door? Where's the door now? Read.
Right, Slakia. So as we see, right, these men, they pressing up against the door, right?
Yeah.
Trying to have sexual relations with another man. Now, I never heard of an Edomite, an Israelite, an Ishmaelite until about 3 years ago. But I've always heard of a Sodomite.
Right.
Right. That was one thing that your parents taught. Hey, don't be no sodomite. Right. Especially in the land of Benjamin. You already know how that goes. Right. Sodomite straight off bat, man. You're dealing with that type of stuff. Right. So should there be sodomites in the nation of Israel? Let's see, man. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 17.
Okay.
Give me Deuteronomy 23 and 17, man.
You already know.
Right. Because listen, hey, man, being from the tribe of Benjamin, it kind of hurts me to say. But when you read the book of Judges, chapter 19, the children of Benjamin was doing the same thing, man. Right? There was a brother sojourning, and guess what? He went into a man's house to seek, lodging, and here come the Benjamites, man, trying to get to know the man. Right? What type of wickedness is that? Right? We see Sodom. This was a prevalent sin in Sodom and Gomorrah, man. Homosexuality. Right? So before, right? That's a heavy spirit, man. Because people are convinced so heavy. It's so heavy. People are convinced they're born that way.
Yeah.
Right? Before you could even say, man, it came on me when I was around 12 or 13. People say I was always like this. I just didn't know it. That's one strong spirit, man.
Yeah.
Right? The most high knew you before you was created in the womb, but this spirit seems to know you also. Right? This spirit got levels, man.
That's
Read
crazy.
that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, and verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel,
Read.
nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel,
Say that again.
nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
So there shall be no sodomite of the sons of Israel. So you know you were not born that way, right? That is a spirit that came onto you, right? From dealing with wickedness, man.
Right.
From looking at the other nations, right? And saying, you know what, I want to try that out, right? You got 8-year-old little boys, 7-year-old little girls trying to talk about some I'm homosexual. How you know that?
Yeah,
right? You don't even know what it is to be with the other partner yet. So how you know if you like it or not?
Right.
Or how do you know that you homosexual? You haven't even been with the same sex yet. How you know that? Right? You might go out there and try it and then be disgusted with yourself for the rest of your life, man. Right? So we could see, man, this type of spirit that they was dealing with Sodom and Gomorrah, the Most High is not dealing with that, right? Let me get the book of 1 Kings chapter 15 and verse 9. Let me get 1 Kings chapter 15 and verse 9. Right? Let's see what King Ahhad did that the Most High was well pleased with, man. Because we cannot accept that within our nation. That is against Torah. That is against the Most High, man. We cannot say, oh, man, you know, I understand. No, we're going to say, brother, listen, man, that's a spirit. And guess what? With the law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High will take that off of you, man.
Right.
He'll cleanse you. You'll wash your way. Read.
We go 15:9.
Yeah, 15 and verse 9. 1 Kings 15 and 9.
The book of First Kings 15 and verse 9.
Read.
And in the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, reigned Asia over Judah.
Read.
And 41 years reigned he in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Maacah, the daughter of Absalom.
And let's see what Ahhad did. Read.
And Ahhad did that which was right in the eyes of the Most High.
So whatever Ahhad did, he was right in the eyes of the Most High. Read.
As did David, his father. And he took away the Sodomites.
And he did what?
He took away the Sodomites.
No, he gave them marriage license.
He took away the Sodomites.
No, he gave them a parade.
He took away the Sodomites.
Read.
Out of the land.
He kicked them out of the land. Right? YAHAWASHI, man. He kicked them out and he said, y'all got to go.
Right.
Right? Now they want to say, oh, no, that you don't go against the LGBTQRZ community. Right? What make them so special?
Right.
Why is it that they get privilege in this kingdom?
Exactly.
Right? That's why I ask people all the time, you sure you want to go to the kingdom of heaven? Because you're not getting a parade. You come with that in the kingdom of the Most High, man. We're not going to have to deal with that, right? Because you won't be there if you continue in that type of folly and madness, wanting to have same-sex relations, man.
Right.
That's not how it's supposed to go. Read.
Can.
Keep reading. Yeah, finish that.
And Asia did that which was right in the eyes of the Most High, as did David his father.
Read.
And he took away the Sodomites out of the land and removed all the idols that his fathers had made.
Right. So Ahhad was cleaning up the place, and one of the things that had to go was the Sodomites, man.
Yeah.
Right. So listen, man. If somebody in your family they dealing with this spirit, man, listen, try to bring them out of that.
Right.
Right. Don't make them feel like, oh yeah, man, I understand. No.
Yeah,
right. Because we don't accept that with murderers. Right. We don't accept that with rapists. We don't accept that with adultery. We don't say, oh yeah, he was just born that way. Leave him alone. No. Right. You condemn him. Right. You rebuke him. You reprove them, man. So we're not gonna allow, you know, homosexuality to reign rampant in our nation, man.
Right.
Right. Because we no longer have to take instructions from the other nations. We got our own law, statutes, and commandments. We know how to govern ourselves now. We know what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable in the eyes of the Most High God. And that is what we establish, man, within our households, within our nation. All right, let's go back to Genesis.
Can. I think we're 19 and 12.
The book of Genesis, chapter 19 and verse 12. And the men said unto Lot, Hast thou here any besides son-in-law and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Most High. And the Most High had sent us to destroy it.
To do what?
To destroy it.
Destroy it of his wickedness, abomination, read.
Right? And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you up out of this place.
And Lot trying to get he's trying to get his family up out of the place, man, because he knows it's about to go down, right?
For the Most High will destroy this city.
Uh-huh.
But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law.
Uh-huh.
And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot,
And they rushed Lot, read.
saying,
What?
Arise,
Uh-huh.
take thy wife
Uh-huh.
and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city.
So he's trying to get them out of there before y'all get consumed. Because this place is about to rain out with fire and brimstone, read.
Precept, let me get Revelations 18:4. Okay. Let me get Revelations 18:4. So we see, why is Sodom and Gomorrah about to be destroyed? Makara, why is Sodom and Gomorrah about to be destroyed? For what? Sum it up in one word. Because of their what?
Ignorance.
Because of their iniquities,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why Sodom and Gomorrah is going to be destroyed, right? What place do we know today who has high level of iniquities that's going to be destroyed in the latter days, right? Right, Officer Abinan just said, man, you can't say nothing about sodomites, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't speak about no iniquity, really, right? Let them people eat whatever they want to eat, right? Let them celebrate whatever they want to celebrate. But because of the iniquities of the land, the Most High is going to destroy it, and that's the same thing that's going to happen to the Americas, man, right?
Okay.
Read that.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 4.
Read.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying,
Uh-huh.
Come out of her, my people,
Read.
that ye be not partakers of her sins,
Uh-huh.
and that ye receive not of her plagues.
Read.
For her sins have reached unto heaven,
Uh-huh.
and Yahawah have remembered her iniquities.
Right.
Reward her even as she rewarded you,
Right.
and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which ye have filled, fill to her double.
Right. So the Most High said, listen, come out of her, my people, and be not partakers of her iniquities. Why? Because if you partake of her iniquities, that place is going to be destroyed, right? For the iniquities. But if you want to be partakers with it, guess what's going to happen to you? Destruction, man.
Right. Let me get Jude in verse 7. All right. All right. Because pretty much America's pretty much taking up the same attributes as these other nations, man. It's just been carried over. You know what I'm saying? It's like wherever we go, the sins, the abominations is like following us right afterwards. Okay. But this is no different than any other kingdom that we encountered before in the past time. You know, just like our foremothers and the forefathers. All right.
The book of Jude, chapter 1 and verse 7.
Read.
Even as Sodom and Gomorrah.
It says, even as Sodom and Gomorrah, read.
The cities,
the
cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication, and going after strange flesh.
After what flesh?
Going after strange flesh.
Strange flesh. What's considered strange flesh? Men with men, women with women.
You talking?
I thought we were going to this shelter.
Oh, all right, no problem. We'll move. Okay, all right, no problem.
All right, read on.
Likewise, Slakia, even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example.
As in a what?
For an example.
As an example, read.
Suffering the vengeance of eternal fire.
It says suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. So the same thing that happened back then is the same thing that's going to happen to Babylon. Okay. All right.
Salakia, Israel, we ran into some difficulties at the pavilion. It seems like somebody might have rented out the place, not be known to our knowledge. So we're going to have to cut the feed right now. We're going to try our best to find a spot to get it back up and running. All right. Salakia for everybody who was tuning in, and we'll try to get back up running as soon as possible. All right. Shalom.